And to hear her sit there and say that, I will start by the little clock that used to sit on my great grandmother's wall. He would pop out every now and then and go, cuckoo, cuckoo. And
woman, just look at the word woman, and we have a womb, our reproductive system. That is what we are. That is who we are.
Because I had to listen to this. She said the least important thing about a woman's reproductive system is that it produces life.
Because so many men have no idea about what women go through, right? We haven't been researched, we haven't been considered, and it affects the way a lot of male lawmakers, a lot of male politicians, a lot of male religious leaders think about the issue of choice as if it's just about the fetus, the baby, but women's reproductive health is about our life. It's about this whole complicated reproductive system that does the least of what it does is produce life. It's a very important thing that it does. But you only produce life if the machine that's producing it, if you want to, whittle us down to a machine, if the machine is functioning in a healthy, streamlined kind of way. Mm-hmm. But there's no discussion or apparent connection between the two.
What in the world? What in the world? This woman and correct me now, Pastor, if I'm saying this, that is demonic. That goes against the entire design, not only for women, but for marriage, for everything. I want to get you in on this, Pastor Damon. What do you think about what she said there? It's reproductive. It's about producing something, is it not?
Absolutely. And to hear her sit there and say that, I will start by the little clock that used to sit on my great grandmother's wall. He would pop out every now and then and go, cuckoo, cuckoo. And I'm not really in the groove with anything she said. The most important thing that the reproductive system is procreates life. The devil has an attack against humanity. And that attack is because he wants to wipe out the image of God off the earth. Mm-hmm. God said in the beginning, let us create man in our image and according to our likeness. So not only do we look like what he wanted to look like as if he was living in the earthly realm, which eventually he came as a man, Emmanuel, God with us. He didn't come as a giraffe. He didn't come as a cockroach. He didn't come as a dog. He came as a human. His name was Jesus. And the other thing is we can function like God. So to do that, it is Satan's way of trying to destroy humanity from continuing on. The LGBTQ agenda, abortion, transgenderism. If you do all of these things all at once and destroy all the babies that are currently in the womb, human society will not last not even 100 years. It is the party of death, and she's supporting what they want to do. But I think she's flipped her wig. I mean, it's hard to see women who have a couple of children sit on that side of the fence with this whole thing.
Right. And this brings me into Michelle. Michelle, I mean, how does this undermine motherhood from what she said?
Y'all, you know how I feel about motherhood. You know how many children I have. You know our entire, and it's not our entire existence, but we were created as the woman. Just look at the word woman, and we have a womb, our reproductive system. That is what we are. That is who we are. The world ceased to exist as it is without us women reproducing. And now they like to throw out that percentage, that very slim percentage of women who maybe cannot have children. They like to use that. I was watching that clip and I thought, what in the menopause is happening? I thought maybe she was having a menopause Michelle moment and just was only focusing on being on the other side, maybe, of having children. She couldn't figure out whether to say fetus or baby. Mm-hmm. So back in that, she wasn't sure. They're still wrestling with calling them babies. And you can see that it is an agenda. It is targeted. It is disgusting. It is vile to say what she said, that it's the least important. Because I think just like that agenda in sports and everything else, they are trying to destroy women. They want us to not exist and we exist, and we are here, and our key, the thing we do is bring life.
Yes.
We carry life, we bring life. Jesus Christ came through a woman's womb. So it's like, how dare you? How dare you? And so many of us are just fed up. I think women are just fed up, and the left isn't listening. They let this hatred and this disgust for humanity continue, and that's what she just did. Clearly, there's an agenda.
Absolutely, Michelle. Absolutely. And I know a lot of times on the right, we focus on, of course, families and reproduction and stuff. But I am starting to think the target of this is not. It is, yes, it's families. Yes, it's reproduction and things. They don't want children and things. But the real target is marriage. Marriage.
Yes.
Because what we're seeing the left do is, on one hand, they're telling women and men, have as much sex as you want, and if you don't, if a baby is, if you get pregnant, abort it. But they want people to continue to have sex. They just don't want necessarily to procreate. But if you procreate, they're saying, don't worry about getting married. They're not pushing marriage. Actually, they have a disdain for marriage. If you really look into it, they have a disdain for marriage. So why are they doing this? They're doing it because they know that this leads to the breakdown of families. It starts with marriage. And this is what I want to ask you, Pastor Damon, because to me, when they attack marriage, it is also attack of the church, of God's relationship with us. Can you talk about that, or do you see that at all?
Well, absolutely. If we look in the book of Ephesians, God has a section in there where he images that the marriage between a man and a woman and the family on earth, of course, is the physical representation of our relationship between Christ and the church. So if they can destroy that, they're actually, again, going to destroy the image of God off the earth. Now he's going to attack the image of our relationship with Jesus Christ off the earth. If you have no man and woman or husband and wife merged together, then you don't have the reflection of Christ and the church and how he is to take care of the church. So we see that husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it, right there in Ephesians chapter 5. So again, it's just a slick way of the enemy to maneuver and to destroy everything that God has prospered for the earth. And I believe he believes, Satan, the enemy, that if he can accomplish this, then he has currently the lease on the earth right now. He's called the God of this age, the God of this world, who has blinded the minds of those who don't believe. I truly believe he somehow, in his twisted way of thinking, that if he can destroy every human, he holds on to the earth forever.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge our super chatters, folks. Thank you all so much. All right, we got Jeff Horton with the $50 super chat. Wow, thank you so much, Jeff. He says, confusion is the devil's playground, and there is enough to go around today. Please keep on bringing the truth. Thank you for what you are doing. You give me hope. Thank you so much, Jeff. We really appreciate you. Folks, as you guys come in, please hit that like button. It really helps to get this video out to a wider audience, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Allie's there saying, awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this. Yeah, I mean, this is the game plan for this left. Mm-hmm. And I want to ask you, Michelle, do you think they're winning? Do you think that, their message is getting out there, that the people are turning away from marriage, turning away from becoming mothers, or seeing that is the design for us as women to give birth, to get married and have children?
I don't think they're winning. I think they've gained some ground, but this is a tug of war. This is that pulling back and forth. And we see that throughout history, throughout, societies where God is ahead, and we've got our values in place. And then we see the enemy picking up ground and territory. But just like you said at the beginning, KJ, they're not winning because the ratings in the messaging that they're pushing on television shows proves they're not necessarily winning. And this last election, when people were turning back to just sanity and saying, I'm going to vote for President Trump because I just want normalcy back, I think this is where we pick up and say, no, they're not winning. They may have got some ground, but we're picking it back up. But that's on us. I'm going to say that's on Christians. And, I feel a pastor, it's hard to find conservative churches anymore, or churches that are bold enough to actually preach the gospel without fear. And I don't know why that is, but if we don't get that message out there and talk about the value of motherhood, of marriage, and of fathers, if you go back and listen to what Michelle Obama said, she was continually down talking men too. So there was an attack on masculinity still. She was talking about, and men doctors and male politicians and male this and male that. Men came out of women too. So it's just, I am shocked. No, they don't win. In the end, they lose. But it's up to us to show them right now they're losing and to really shut them up and bring the facts. And so, Pastor, what you gave were facts. KJ, what you and I bring is the truth and not their skewed views and demonic rhetoric.
Yeah. Pastor Damon, what do you think?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to interject one thing there. There are 3 churches that I see that we have moved into the age of, especially from the left, and they're pushing it hard. We know about the 7 churches of Revelation. There's the compromising church and the lukewarm church. But we forget about going into the book of Thessalonians and finding the apostate church, the church that has fallen away. To be apostasy means to fall away from, to fall back from. And so not only are we compromising and lukewarm, now we're the apostate church. And we're going to see this stuff. It's just going to get worse in the church. But I believe at this time that God is also already separating the wheat from the tares.